Hello, good afternoon. My name is Mohammed. Today I'm actually going to give you a small overview of the sanitation worker exam number 5001. Basically, what this exam is, I'm going to show you in this video how to apply, what to do, what's the process. So that's what my job in this video is going to be. Now, first of all, that's how whenever you apply for a city job, for example, sanitation, traffic department, NYPD. This is how usually the thing looks like. Notice examination. It tells you from when to when you could apply till. It'll tell you the application fee. If you're using a credit card, they will charge you 2.49%, but the percentage of the credit card fee that's supposed to charge. And they tell you the test date, which is going to be February 7th to February 8th. You know, like one of those 2 days they're going to give it to you. So basically, this is what it is. What you do is you basically read through it. That's where my job in the video is to explain to you what they ask for, what the job involves. Sanitation workers under direct supervision perform work and prepare and operate various type of equipment involving street cleaning, waste collection, recycling collection, snow removal, increment removal, waste removal, and when assigned, perform enforcement duties. So basically, sanitation workers do all these duties, and they even do more. They basically, like if you see, they do salt spreaders in the winter. They clean ice from the streets. They do, basically, like they do more than one thing. So basically, that's what the job involves. You'll be working on probably on rotating shifts. You'll have multiple shifts. You probably have mandatory overtimes. You may be working Saturday and Sunday nights, depending on how they want you to be working. Some of the physical activities performed by sanitation workers: environmental condition experience by walking and standing for long periods of time, operating various types of sanitation department equipment in all types of weather, pulling, dragging, lifting, and carrying heavy and large objects, bags of garbage, cans, container, bulk items, and throwing and dumping into a truck, hopper of loading them into a truck. As you've seen in New York City, how the sanitation workers, they pick up very, very heavy bags, mattresses, and it's a very dangerous job because some of these bags might have items inside that could be dangerous and lethal. So you touch them and you could get injured or worse. So that's what the basic job is telling you. You have to, this is what the job requirement is. The salary, they tell you this minimum $33,000 for $33,746 per annum. They do, meaning the rate is subject to change. They might change the salary after completion of 6 months. Your salary raise up to $36,607, and then obviously 15 to 20 years of service, your salary does change. So you're all subject to rate changes. Maybe they might have a bonus. They might increase salary depending on what it is. So if you apply, just go to nyc.gov exam for jobs. You just follow the on-screen instruction, what they tell you. Just go over here, have a valid email address. Always check your spam just in case if they send you an email and everything. If you pay for it, but you should be able to see something within 5 to 10 minutes. Once you pay up, that you paid for the exam. And then obviously, then what they do is once the exams are coming nearby, let's say for April 7th. And you apply for the exam, and you pay for this February, they should send you something in email week or two before. If not, then contact DCAs or sanitation department. They'll be able to help you out more on that part. These are the two locations from 9 to 5. They do offer tests, but sanitation tests, they do accommodate you. They send you to high schools such as Edward R. Moore High School or anywhere else nearby. These are the testing center where sometimes they make you go there depending on the situation. And one is in Manhattan, one is in 210 Geraldson Street. It's a computer-based testing. The sanitation test is actually a paper-based testing, so there's a little bit different requirements over here. If you have a special circumstances, if you're disabled or if you're pregnant or any type of religious observances or anything like that, they do have special circumstances, but the only thing they need proof. So basically, you have some type of proof just in case if they do ask for that. Working for the sanitation department, you have to be at least 17 and a half years of age by the end of the application period to take this examination. Basically, you have to be once you could take the test when you're 17 and a half, 18 years, but once they called you, you have to be at least 21. Because why? Because you're going to be driving a sanitation truck or big commercial vehicles. Some of these commercial vehicles requirements, you have to be 21 years or older. So that's one of the reasons why they want you to be 21. Obviously, you may how to qualify. You may be given the test before we verify your qualification. You're responsible for determining whether you meet the qualification or not. Basically, you want to make sure that if you're qualified even before you come and take the test. That's what they're asking. The commercial driving license requirement, the education requirement, By the general requirement, you must have a 4-year high school diploma or educational equivalent approved by the state Department of Education. So what does this whole paragraph mean? Basically, by the time when they call you, not time when you take the test, but the time when they call you for an appointment, you must have a diploma. If not, then obviously it's going to be a problem. You may delay the application by telling them that, listen, I want to delay my application. I have 6 months left to complete high school, or whatever the situation is. They might do that. They might give you leniency. But by the time of the application, if you're 21 or if you have a high school diploma, you should be okay. CDL, by the date of appointment, you must have a valid New York State CDL Class A, B, or legal with an N tank vehicle endorsement. No K, not valid outside of New York State. Interstate only restriction, and no air brake. The requirement for CDL license is no L1, L2 air brake restriction, and CDLB is no L2 air brake restriction. Basically, that's what they're trying to say. If you don't have that, they do actually give you classes, the Department of Sanitation, and I will show that on the bottom. 1 week CDL training conducted by the DS will cost $900. This cost is subject to change based upon factors that may increase the cost of DSNY to provide this training. This cost does not include the New York State Department of Motor Vehicle Road Test fee. After appointment, you will be required to repay the above DSN cost of training. Basically, they will give you training, and I think you have to pay them back, or whatever the case is. Always, like I said, when the time of the appointment, they will subscribe you, because not everyone's going to have a class CDL license. Age requirement for CDL, because a K restriction is placed on the CDL license, any person under the age of 21, and because sanitation worker must have one of the above identified license without a K restriction, he must attain age 21. Like I said before, it wasn't sanitation, it's the DMV, because you're driving vehicles that are required by the age of 21. They want you to have a license. You have to be 21 years old, or you're going to have a medical requirement. Obviously, you're going to do drug tests and everything. Drug and alcohol screen requirement. They want to make sure that you're okay. You don't do any type of drugs. The medical requirement, they want to see if you have any type of medical problem, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or any type of problem that might hinder you to work with the sanitation department. Resident requirement advisory. This is basically used for if you're basically a resident in New York State or not. That's what it is, because some people do other states from other like Connecticut, New Jersey, do take the test, so you have to be a resident to basically meet the requirements. English requirement obviously comes, and you need to learn the language of English, to speak English. Proof of identity. Under the Immigration Enforcement Control Act, you must be able to prove your identity, your right to employment from the United States. What does it mean if they ask you for ID? If you have your passport, that's like a proof of identity. So basically, that's what they're asking. If you have something, you show proof. You will be given a multiple choice test. Obviously, multiple choice test, you have to get 78 pass. Obviously, you want to score a high score, like 90, 95, even more than that, because sanitation is very competitive. A lot of people take the test. So the higher you get, the better it is. Just try to get at least in the 98, 99, so that you'll be the top of the list to get called to sanitation. That's what I can recommend to you guys. Written comprehension. This is the test is going to be about written comprehension, problem sensitivity, written expression, information ordering, deductive reasoning, visualization, spatial orientation. So basically, this question is going to be based on all these factors. You can read all three. Do this by pausing the video or reading through it, in your own time. But you be careful when you go to the test sites. They don't want you to bring any type of cellular phones, beepers, papers, cameras, portable media player, MP3 player, or anything that deals with electronic. To make sure your phone's turned off, no alarm is on at that time when you get disqualified by the instructor. We're gonna make sure you have everything. Make sure you bring required identification. You're required to bring one form valid, non-expired signature and photo-bearing identification to the test site. The name was used to apply for the exam must match first and last name on the photo ID. You'll be surprised how people bring their IDs and their names that are matching on the time, the date you apply for the test, to make sure everything's matching. I recommend just taking, just in case, an extra form of ID. If they do ask you and give you a hard time, you have at least 2 IDs just in case. You must leave the test site once you finish the test. If you leave the test site after being fingerprinted but before the test site, you will not be permitted to re-enter. What they mean is, once you leave, you cannot come into the building for whatever reason, unless it's a valid reason that's acceptable. But other than that, you're not supposed to go back in. New York City residents credit. 5 points will be added to the final exam score of those candidates who qualify for New York City residents credit. What does this mean? If you live in New York City, obviously if you were born here, you live here, you get 5 extra points. So if you get a 95, you're gonna get 100. That's 5 points automatically added when they do ask you a question. Are you a resident of New York City? You're supposed to say yes. Only eligible for the residence credit will be investigated by the DSNY. What does it mean? If you do say yes, they're gonna investigate it to make sure that you're not lying. You'll be telling the truth, because some people do lie, and that's what they're asking for. They might ask you for rent receipt, mortgage payment invoice, bank statement, credit card statement, utility, telephone, pay stub, or anything that says your address on it. You want to make sure you're not lying, basically. Now, obviously, DSNY reserve the right to accept other documents. Basically, that's what they're saying. They have the right to keep the documents to make sure everything's saved. They do have the right to investigate you. Bring the admission notice to the test site. Bring a couple of pencils with you, pens with you. The test result, really, obviously, they'll mail it to you, or sometimes even post it online. They do, when you do take the test, they give you another piece of paper to record your answers. You can even use that when they do post the answers. You could just make sure everything's correct. Change of mail and email address, just let them know you change your email address or email address, because if you changed it, then obviously they're going to be sending you stuff on the old address or the old email, and that could be a problem. Probationary period is 18 months. Obviously, which means that within 18 months you do something, they can't fire you, to make sure you are on your best behavior in the probationary period. Investigation prior to the appointment. The time of investigation, candidates will be called for an interview by the DSNY Human Resource for a background investigation, and to review all required documents of the military service. Basically, they can do an investigation and make sure if you're not lying, if you're telling the truth. If you worked so far, they're gonna ask you what you be doing. They're gonna be asking. Basically, they're gonna be doing an investigation on you. That's what the basically is. Special arrangements, like I said before, these are the requirements. Read into this if you fall into this category. Penalty for mispresentation. Any intentional mispresentation application or examination may result in disqualification. Even after appointment, may result in criminal prosecution. So it's common sense what they're asking. So if you have any other question, guys, that's how this video was just basically show you how to read this. People don't understand about the DSNY, the Department of Sanitation, what it is, how to take the exam, what do they require. So basically, this video was a short overview, just showed you what they expect from anyone that wants to join the sanitation department. If you have any other question, please, guys, like, subscribe, comment. I'm always here to help you out. Thank you for taking your time to watch the video. I hope you learned something. Hopefully, watching the video will teach you something about the DSNY. For those of you that didn't know, obviously. Again, if you have any questions, please comment, subscribe again. Thank you for your time for watching the video, and have a beautiful day.